Returning to our top story tonight, the landmark Senate race in Alabama. Polls are due to close in 3.5 hours from now. Chris Cilliza is here with me. Sir, good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for making time for us.
In person.
Absolutely. Tonight's vote, how close is it going to be, do you think?
Truthful answer, no one knows. Alabama hasn't had a close election, Democrats and Republicans, since 1986. This is a special election, so an election outside of the normal time frame when voters are used to voting, and it's 13 days before Christmas. So my expert analysis is it will be relatively low. 600,000 people.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it could get upward of that because it's gotten a lot of attention. But honestly, Richard, we just do not know. There's no way you can look historically back and say, okay, well, this number of people are coming.
So the traditional view that I've read is whatever happens tonight, it's good for the Democrats. If they win the seat, then they've pulled up a massive gotcha.
Yep.
If Roy Moore wins, then they have a punching bag for the next however many years. Do you buy that wisdom?
Sort of true. Look, I think moral victories aren't great victories. Would you rather have a United States Senate seat, meaning that Democrats would control 49 seats? Yes, you'd rather have that than a moral victory. Will Roy Moore be a problem for Republicans if he gets elected to the Senate? Yeah, he will be, but I guarantee you'd rather have a U.S. Senate seat all the way through 2020, by the way. Remember, this is the unexpired term of Jeff Sessions. He's not up for re-election until 2020, so you've got 3 years of another seat, 49 seats at least for Democrats. So I think they're both victories of a sort, but winning the seat outright, be a rejection of Donald Trump or rejection, would be a bigger deal.
Let's talk on the bigger issue. I want you to listen to Steve Bannon, who's been talking on economic nationalism, which is something of which he is so keen at the moment. Have a listen.
What do you see every day? You read the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times. Every country in the world's complaining and bellyaching. You know why? There's finally somebody standing up for the United States of America. You all talk about hate speech. What about the economic hate crimes the establishment has foisted on the workers of the United States of America?
Chris?
Not surprising. Look, this is who Steve Bannon is. And I think it's important to remember that the architecture of Steve Bannon's beliefs, economic nationalism, anti-trade, have been assumed by Donald Trump. These are views that Donald Trump glommed onto during the campaign. So when you hear Bannon speak, a lot of what he says is what has influenced Trump to get to where he is.
But we look at Donald Trump, and I was reading a fascinating piece that you wrote concerning this idea of Donald Trump, the counter-argument.
Yeah.
Whatever seems to be the prevailing wisdom, he says, look, it worked for me in the election. I'm going in the opposite direction. Paris, the TPP, Roy Moore. He's almost perversely going opposite.
So I think yes is the answer. The best way to think about Trump is this. For his whole life, he believes himself to have been someone on the outside looking in. His father was a developer in Queens, not Manhattan. He developed in Manhattan, but the elites there and the old money never allowed him in. He came to Washington in 2011. President Obama and Seth Meyers, the comedian, made jokes at his expense and the idea he was running for president. So he distrusts anyone who he believes is in the room. And as you point out, Richard, the 2016 campaign was the absolute capper of that belief system. Everyone said he had no chance. Then everyone said he had to drop out after the Access Hollywood tape. He didn't do any of those things. He denied all the allegations. He did the exact opposite of what conventional wisdom would dictate, and he won.
Even at 32% or 33%, the lowest in the polls, it's working for him.
It works for him to an extent. I think that just going counter for the sake of going counter is a tactic, not a strategy. And I think the problem with this administration is if you try to find a narrative arc of any sort, there isn't really one. There's a series of dots because, again, he's just doing the opposite. Doing the opposite is not a proactive agenda, and I think that's why he's struggling.
Chris, can we get
in polls at least?
Right, but as I get a lot of emails from a lot of viewers who consistently say to me, why can't you say a good thing about Donald Trump, not you personally.
No,
about Donald Trump and what he's done for the economy. Stock market at record highs. Unemployment at
record lows.
17-year lows. Confidence at record highs. Do they have a point?
Yes. I always think any president, I said this with Obama, I said it with George W. Bush, any president gets too much credit when the economy is doing well and too much blame when the economy is doing bad. That's just the nature of American politics. We don't really, the average person has no real understanding of how the economy works other than say, the stock market is up, things are good. He deserves some credit in that his election convinced corporate America that there would be less regulation. It would be a businessman in the White House. So a lot of what they're doing is acting on that. And the tax cut, without question, you take the corporate tax rate from 35 to 20, and you do engender confidence among corporate America. So he does deserve credit for that. Does he deserve as much credit as he's taking? Probably not, but he wouldn't have deserved as much blame as he was getting if the economy wasn't doing well.
Good to see you, sir.
I'm always happy to be here. The bell.
To encourage you. He gets one, just one, as an encouragement.
Is it like a free one? How was that? Yeah, it's mediocre. C-. I'll take it. I mean, I don't have a lot of practice with it.
As we continue, he wants another one. No, get away.